Hey, old souls. I wanted today to just go into kind of a preview of 2021. So I had done a little bit of this in the Great Conjunction, the Jupiter Saturn moving into Aquarius video I did a couple weeks ago. But today I wanted to go through the main transit that's happening for 2021 and then go through each house and how it would affect you. Basically go through each ascendant and then go through how this transit will affect all 12 signs in that way. So to start, the biggest transit of 2021 is planet squaring Uranus the entire year. And it does it the entire year. So they both have this little dance where they're in retrograde and then out of retrograde, but they never leave conjunction with each other, which means that the effect lasts the entire year and even a little bit kind of moving into the next year. And so what this shows is that Saturn collectively, so this first this definition will be more of a collective definition, and I'll go into the personal ones afterwards. But Saturn collectively is an energy of wanting to make society real, like wanting to make it more adult, more professional, more just like get the shit together. That's just like my Saturn tagline. Saturn is get your shit together for the collective in regards to progressive ideals and the humanitarian group, because that's Aquarius. So Saturn in Capricorn the last few years has been all about poking any of the sore spots involved with big structures and government and larger systems. And basically, where are they not solid? Because Capricorn wants things to be solid. Capricorn and Saturn, very similar energies. They want things to be real and, above board. Nothing's held together by duct tape. Where are the weak spots? Poke at the weak spots until they're strong. Like a tough coach who's like that terrifying coach that you hate to go to because they're definitely not going to let you get away with your excuses. But if you keep going to them, they get the job done. They get it exactly the way that you want it to be done. They make you into your best self. That's really what Saturn's always about. It wants to make you into your best self. It wants to make the collective into its best self. And the struggles and limitations and restrictions that Saturn often gets labeled with are because many people say that they want to live their best selves or have the collective be at their best, but they don't want to actually do the deep dives, do the deep clean in order to make that happen. So Saturn gets a bad rap, but what it's really trying to do is just force things into this far more evolved state. So Saturn in Aquarius is, I think I maybe jumped tracks there. Saturn in Capricorn was getting the structures for the government, for the society, like the rules and regulations of the world. Where are those not right? Where are those held together in a poor way that aren't actually useful, aren't actually functional? Capricorn. And we have now left that realm, and now we are in Saturn in Aquarius, which is where is the whole connection with other people, the whole progressive ideals that we're trying to move towards. Where are those maybe not as stable as we thought they were? Or maybe where is the lip service going on, but not the actual action that's moving us towards a better future? And the difference is one of them isn't really, like Saturn in Capricorn was not really focused on big picture vision for the future. It's functional. It's like, how is this working and how is it not? How can we create our solid structures that we need in order to, know what the rule is, know how to organize ourselves in a way that's functional. Saturn in Aquarius is way more of that big picture future vision. So really it's more hopeful. Aquarius is far lighter than Capricorn. It's still got like a mission, but it's just a lighter, more future focused mission. So the best thing that Saturn and Aquarius can accomplish is allowing us to manifest a lot more of these beautiful humanitarian progressive ideals that we've all been trying to achieve for many, many years. Like better things that are, equal for everyone in various ways, or living situations that are more harmonious and we're not all living in like little tiny white plaster boxes, these very inhuman things. Aquarius wants that vision for the future to be manifested. But everything has positives and negatives, so don't just listen to all of those. We're in the age of Aquarius and everything's going to be great memes that are going around. Aquarius has a dark side. Everything has a dark side. So the dark side of Aquarius is we are all moving into the future. This particular chunk of the collective has decided that this is what the future is. And if you don't agree with that, you can just go rot in the corner. Like that's the shadow side of Aquarius. My vision is better than yours. And this is really a tricky part about Aquarius because it has a lot of wonderful, beautiful qualities to it. But it, of course, just the nature of here is this basically one size fits all perfect utopian vision. Everyone's not going to vibe with that. Not everyone has the same vision for the future. So this is like the ultimate task of Saturn and Aquarius is how do we manifest a collective future and also acknowledge that many other different types of, this is what I want for the future. This is what I want for the future. How can all of those come together as one big thing so that we don't create, any sort of novel that came out from the 80s dystopia about we were trying to get to an ideal and then we just made it even worse because, we basically stopped listening to a whole bunch of the other half of the collective that we thought were just wrong. Like that's the shadow side of Aquarius, seeing other people as not as evolved as yourself, and then their opinion doesn't matter. So let's try not to do that. So that's Saturn and Aquarius collectively. And then Uranus and Taurus is being squared by this. And so Uranus and Taurus is basically just a shakeup in comfort zones, like super simple. It can get really complicated in what Taurus means, especially collectively, because it's like housing and money and food source and, farming, like all of these things that are very five senses oriented, how we physically interact with the world around us. That all is getting a shakeup. So Uranus at its best has this energy of awakening. So you're doing something and then an insight happens, an event happens, someone says something to you and you're just like, oh my God, I never thought of it like that before. That is brilliant. That is exactly how I would rather it be. And then you have you have that path in front of you then, whereas you didn't see it before. So Uranus has this ability to just wake us up and shake us out of our just, too small comfort zones. But just like, Saturn has a lovely mission, but people fight it. People definitely fight Uranus's lovely mission as well, because we like our comfort zones. People are very attached to their comfort zones and their, particular ways that they have of getting their food, or how they like to make their money, or where they want to have their money be spent, like all of these very Taurus type things. To shake all that up is really scary to a lot of people because we all depend on these things being the same. I'm going to put money in the bank and it's going to be there, or I'm going to go to the grocery store and there's going to be food. So it's not like those things won't be there, but it's just things like that are what Uranus is trying to up level. So, if we're doing it one way and it works pretty well, but Uranus is like, but there's this new beautiful thing happening, because Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. So similar vibe of big picture vision, beautiful ideals that they're trying to push us into. It's just Uranus as the planet does it far more directly and quickly. So it's more of like whoa, didn't see that coming. Okay, let me manage this back into my reality now. So Uranus and Taurus at its best is potentially, by the time this transit fully completes, so it's squaring Saturn this year, but it's in Taurus for multiple years. By the time this completes, we might have an entirely different way that we share food, or an entirely different way that we deal with money, or deal with farming, or all of these things that we are just like, oh, this is just how it is. Housing, huge thing with Taurus. All of those things might have a giant once over by the time Uranus is done being in Taurus, which I believe is another 4 or 5 years or something like that. So, and then the negative of Uranus and Taurus is, uncomfortable things happening with money and housing and food and like all that kind of thing. So to have these two square, a square aspect is basically a conflict. So at best, it's activating and it's getting the two to become more, like again, that kind of push to grow, or they're just conflicting and just poking at everyone's sore spots. That's the other thing about a square. So one half is basically this ideal vision for the future and how can we manifest it for the collective, versus completely overhauling the majority of how we live our regular lives. So all of the basic functions of life, of food and housing and clothing and money and all those kinds of things. So you can see that those are huge players here. And when they're having a battle between them, lots and lots and lots of things can be going in a really positive direction and really negative direction. And in all honesty, probably both will be happening, because that's, we don't live in a 1000% of all humans are completely evolved to their highest level state. So the collective naturally just is whatever the average of the majority of people are. And that's how the collective planets tend to show up, which is why they tend to show up a little bit more in the negative. But for a personal version of the astrology, that's where we have the most free will. And that's where we're really able to potentially tap into the highest version of these things. So I'm going to go through each of the signs and show how this particular square is affecting you this year. So this is kind of like, broad strokes, what's going to be the main conflict / activation for you this year. And we each have it in a slightly different way, because we will each be having it in a slightly different house. So I'll read them through basically for each ascendant, and then also for whatever house Aquarius is for you. That's how I'll try and divide it up. So remember that I'm not reading sun signs, and I'm reading it more based on the house. So the signs are there and huge and important, but the houses are what's creating the differences here between each group of people. Okay, so let's start off with, if you have an Aries ascendant, that would show that this square going on between Saturn and Uranus is going to happen in your 11th house versus your 2nd house. And what this shows is that basically your thing that you're trying to manifest, this ideal version of the future, you're trying to manifest it, or you're being kind of forced to manifest it in your friend circle and your tribe. Like 11th house is, all the people that you choose to surround yourself with, your network, your supporters, all these things. So when Saturn's going through that, that means that, Saturn also has a longer time period than just a single year. So you're just starting this journey of really solidly manifesting and making real what you want to be around. Like, who is your ideal group? How are you not in that ideal group right now? How are you maybe like, my thing with Saturn is always, Saturn does not approve of anything that is duct taped or rubber banded together in this like force it to fit kind of way. So where is it in your friend group that, you're not really solid and you're not really inspired. You're not really just like, I love everything about this tribe. Saturn's going to have the goal of making that more in line with your vision, in a way that you enjoy and also in a way that you don't enjoy, because Saturn does not hold back. So it's that energy of basically like evolving into a deeper unity with your friend group is squaring, changing up what you value, Uranus and Taurus in the 2nd. And so that shows that there might be a comfort zone that you have squished yourself too far into over the, time, some period of time in your life. And that is the thing that Uranus is wanting to break open a little bit. It's gotten too solid and stuck. So to have what that means when you have like your values are being uplifted is maybe you value, as long as I've got, this amount of money in the bank, or like this level of housing, or, as long as I have this little bit going on in my life that allows me the comfort and stability that I want, I'm good. And Uranus is like, think bigger, do more. I know that you love eating at fill in the blank restaurant every single day, but is that actually healthy for you? Do you really want that? Is that something that was meant for your true ability to thrive in this world, like physically, emotionally, all these five senses oriented things? So basically, it's your friend group versus your values. That's where the conflict is for Aries ascendants this year. And I'm just gonna go through these pretty quickly. So, as always, if you would like more information about this, particularly for you, because of course there's so much more going on than just this one tiny little thing, but this is the nice, big, broad strokes version of it. But if you want more of an individual orientation with all of this, you can always book an astrology reading with me. I'll link it below. Okay, next up, if you have a Taurus ascendant. So if you have Taurus ascendant, Saturn just entered into your 10th house, and it's going to be conflicting with your first house. So this is basically the thing that Saturn's wanting you to do, is to up level and move more into the big vision of what your career is meant to be, how the world is meant to see you. So Saturn in Aquarius 10th house is all about, where is it that you're settling, or you're not really, totally inspired by your job? And then having that conflict with / activate, where is it in your own identity, your sense of self, this social script that you've got, that you're, this is how I'm supposed to interact with other people, first house. Where is it that script is too small? So maybe it's like, this huge vision that you would absolutely love to have as a career is some sort of inspirational speaker or something. I mean, it could be so many things, but like some big grand thing. And in this moment, you are a bank teller or something. So it's not like it's a bad job. It's a nice, solid, comfortable job, but it's nothing like that beautiful vision that you deep down would really crave. And the thing that's keeping you as that bank teller, in this completely random example, with that Taurus first house is, but I'm supposed to be solid. I'm supposed to be stable. To go out and do that big, crazy vision that I have for my career would make me less stable. That's too risky. I don't want to do that. And so that Uranus in the first house is trying to get you out of that too small version of who you see yourself to be. Maybe you are much more than you think you are, but you've just put yourself in a small box because it's comfortable. So that sense of self versus work is the conflict activation thing, trying to evolve the two for you in 2021, Taurus ascendants. Okay, Gemini ascendants. Saturn is now in your 9th house, and Uranus is in your 12th house. So what this shows is that Saturn in your 9th house in Aquarius is showing that Saturn is wanting to come through and really clean up and, inspire again your belief systems, your religion, your spirituality, what guiding principles you have in this life. So maybe you kind of, put it like you're kind of there, but you're like, well, I'm really inspired by this, but like I'd have to go to India to learn about that, or that's too much, or, excuse, all these things, or, it's just easier to keep the religion of my mom or whatever. So that way I don't have to deal with that. That's what Saturn's wanting you to deal with this year is, what do you genuinely believe? What lights you up in this guiding principle you know, belief systems, philosophies on life, spiritual beliefs, all of these ninth house things. Saturn's wanting you to really upgrade that area and also make it real. So, you know, the other half of that might be maybe you have all these brilliant things in a journal somewhere, but you don't ever share it with anyone, or you don't really claim it. You're like, oh yeah, I know a lot about fill in the blank about whatever type of spirituality you like, but you know, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Saturn's like, it is a big deal for you. Claim it, own it. So that would be one half of the equation, really getting clear on those belief systems and your you know, connection to something larger than yourself. Squaring Uranus and Taurus in the 12th. What subconscious beliefs are needing like what subconscious beliefs are stuck in a cage that need to be broken out of? So what have you repressed, basically? Uranus is coming through your 12th house. And again, this is not just this year for Uranus in the 12th, but it's really getting activated this year because of that Saturn square. What areas of your subconscious, of your family karma, of your, you know, things that keep showing up in your whole family line, what's going on in your dreams, you know, where are all of these things that keep trying to show you things that are hidden from you? So like maybe you're like, oh, I'm totally cool. That thing that happened 10 years ago, it's fine. It's no big deal. I've healed that already. And then Uranus in Taurus is coming through being like, maybe not. Maybe there's a lot more there. Maybe you put yourself in a small little box of, oh, this is as deep as my subconscious goes, and I've already hit the bottom with that. I'm already good. And Uranus is showing you that there's way more there than you thought, positive and negative. So, you know, bringing up unconscious repressed things, but also bringing up, you know, maybe deeper like spiritual connection things. Like maybe you didn't know you were as psychic as you were. Maybe you start, you know, hearing things in a hopefully positive way. But, you know, you're just open. It's opening those spiritual / just beyond the third dimension type things for you. And this is messing with your beliefs. So your beliefs are wanting to get bigger and your subconscious beliefs are poking at it. So those two things are activating each other so that, you know, eventually this, at the end of 2021, Gemini Ascendants here, you have potentially awakened more of what was hidden from you in your subconscious / spiritual self. And then that's massively upgraded your understanding of the world, your belief systems, your religions, how you orient yourself. And you're far more inspired and you're way more connected and just, you know, excited for the future. That's Saturn in Aquarius, what Saturn in Aquarius is all about. So that was Gemini Ascendant. Cancer Ascendant. So you have Saturn now in your 8th house, and it squares Taurus in the 11th. So Saturn in 8th, go talk to your Gemini Ascendant friends, and you'll know everything you need to know about Saturn going through the 8th. The last 3 years for Gemini Ascendants were Saturn going through their 8th. So basically what Saturn going through your 8th house is all about is cleaning up all of your projections and all the things that you're still in a victim mentality about. So, you know, something is like, well, I would do that, but that person over there won't let me, or I would do that, but society is too broken and won't let me do that. Like all of these, it's someone else has power over me, which is why I can't do it. Saturn is going to come through and poke every possible trigger that you have for the purpose of empowering you. So, you know, 8th house Saturn in Aquarius at its best would be like complete and total empowerment. Like you see the vision of the future. You know that it's completely in your hands and you are completely capable of doing that. And then you get to work doing it with, you know, your group of people. So you leave behind a victim mentality and you go into a sovereign place. And then this is what allows you to really allow that vision that you have for the future to exist. You get out of your own way, basically, because that's one of the things that keeps it from being able to be manifested with an 8th house Saturn is you think it's someone else's job to do it. Saturn is very much forcing you into a space of it is your job to do it. And you need help from other people, but it's not some powerful thing needs to give you power. It's you need to find your own power and then find the same mentality of people to go out and do it, together. So it's group power versus like a handout, I guess. So that's Saturn in the 8th for Capricorn, or I'm sorry, for Cancer ascendants. And then all of that is squaring Uranus and Taurus in the 11th. So where is it that maybe your friend group is a little too small? Maybe the friend group also has a bit of a, well, it's someone else's job to do it. Or, I'm just going to focus on this little tiny corner of my world. I'm not really going to bother too much with other people. And Uranus is coming through and saying, shake that up. Maybe change up your friend group, grow your friend group, surround yourself with more inspiring people or more empowered people. So that way you yourself have a better chance of coming out of your own victim mentalities. So that, triggering energy, that victim mentality energy, Saturn in the 8th, conflicting with and healing all of just your friend group, where is it in the friend group that's keeping that victim mentality? And where is the victim mentality, keeping the friend group? And how can both of those things shift so that all of this energy is more inspiring and empowering versus just, anger inducing? So that's a big piece for Cancer ascendants. Okay, next up, Leo ascendants. So if you have a Leo ascendant, that shows that this Uranus-Saturn energy for you is happening in basically relationships versus work. So Saturn is going to be in your 7th house, which shows that this year and the next couple of years, Saturn is basically coming through and doing the once over and getting rid of the duct tape in all things relationships for you. So where is it that you're settling in relationships, or you're, just kind of like stuck or not inspired, you're just kind of there, maybe you've given up a little bit? Saturn's coming through and really activating all that, so that by the end of this transit, so I'm talking specifically about 2021 here, but the Saturn transit for all of these goes a couple years afterwards. But by the time Saturn is done with your 7th house, Leo ascendants, you will have mastered relationships. So whether that means you're in one or not is completely, that's a huge variable, but you will have healed, or at least had the potential to heal, anything that was keeping you from really being able to be the authority in relationships. Like you claimed it. You're like, okay, I see what I'm projecting here. I see how this is a bad fit for me, even though I keep going back to it. I see what's going on. I have the big picture ideal of what my relationships are now, my personal relationships. So this is like 7th house is your romantic partners, or, potentially like best friends or business partners too, but all your close one-on-ones. Basically, how is it that those things have been, I just haven't really risen to the challenge of that. That's Saturn in Aquarius 7th for you, at its best. At its worst, just more the trials and tribulations of Saturn will just be felt in your relationships. And all of this is squaring Uranus in Taurus in the 10th for you. Again, Leo ascendants. So where is it that your maybe not fully inspired relationships are kind of keeping you too small in your career? Or maybe your too small career is keeping you from being really inspired in your relationships. So, this might be a classic example of you've just got some regular job, but you feel like you have to. It's, I have to stay in this boring job because my family needs it, or, fill in the blank of all the shoulds that you've put on yourself with that. And maybe that energy is what's keeping you from really getting to some big picture, beautiful vision for your relationships. Because maybe your, partner would actually totally support you on this new mission for the job that you're wanting to do, but you're just not even letting yourself think that big. So Uranus in the 10th house is trying to break open the smallness of your career. And then Saturn in the 7th is wanting to, re-inspire and fix anything that's not moving you towards a better future in your relationships. All right, Virgo ascendant. So Virgo ascendant, you have Saturn in your 6th house and Uranus in your 9th house. So Saturn in the 6th. So Saturn in the 6th, just on kind of a smaller note, basically is asking you to get your shit together with your health. So the clients and myself included, when Saturn went through my 6th house, was, not paying much attention to health and diet and whatever, to getting like a solid routine down. That was when I started doing yoga, and pretty much stopped doing yoga after Saturn left my 6th house. But, it's this time that you have to really master your health and diet and routines for day-to-day life. All the stuff that's just all the things you have to do to stay healthy. That's 6th house. And also your day job. So kind of up leveling any sort of just stuff, coworker stuff, all that kind of just day-to-day stuff. Really figuring out where in that realm is just barely held together. You're kind of like, well, this kind of sucks, but I'm just going to do it anyways. Saturn's going to make it very clear what works and what doesn't. And you have this opportunity to fix what doesn't. So that's Saturn in the 6th. And that's squaring Uranus and Taurus in the 9th for you, which means that the thing that's too small for you is your belief systems. Uranus is coming through and wanting to break you out of too small of a box with what you think about life, these big questions that we have for life. So maybe you're like, oh, well, that's what the news told me to think, so that's good enough for me. Uranus is like, nope, break it open, there's more there. Or maybe you've, just assumed that there isn't anything beyond this third dimensional reality. When you die, you just kind of die, or whatever. And it's caused you all kinds of suffering and pain to have this belief system. Uranus is coming through and asking you to question that, asking you to think bigger. So the best version of this is basically like your day-to-day routine is activating your belief systems, and your belief systems are activating your daily routine. So maybe you do see that there's more to life than just death and taxes or whatever. And so that inspires you, and you're open to a bigger picture of things. And then that gets you, activates you to be more conscious of your health, or conscious of your diet, or conscious of your exercise routine, or doing more in your day that just connects you to that deeper purpose that maybe wasn't there before because it was too small. So Virgo ascendants have this beliefs versus daily routine health thing going on. Again, very small descriptions for all of these. I could probably do like a 2-hour video for each of these, but I'm trying to just squish it enough into a just enough to like have a bite-sized bit for all this. Okay, next up is Libra ascendant. So Libra ascendants, Saturn's in your 5th and Uranus is in your 8th. So what that shows is Saturn's coming through this year and really wanting you to up level and be re-inspired by just life, like just having more fun. Where is it that you've, kind of just let all of that slide? You're kind of maybe stuck in a bunch of shoulds, or you just do a lot of things for other people. How can you come back and really master what you yourself love to do? So Saturn in the 5th house, basically is forcing you into a maturity on your own self-expression. And one of the benefits of this, because it's Saturn, is you really, like Libra ascendants, you particularly this year have an incredible power to manifest, but you have to claim it. You have to name it. You have to say, I want this, and you have to mean it from the heart versus like, well, it would be nice if I did this and this and this because that would be nice for my, grandpa and da 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 da. No, like, what do you personally find deep love and are just like passionately into. That's what Saturn's wanting you to find. And that is conflicting in that square aspect with Uranus in the eighth. Where is it that you are too small in your mergings with others? Where is it that you're kind of too stuck in a, it could either be like you don't trust people very much, or you're, not really sure how you can blend with another person. And you're like, I don't want to bother them, or I don't want them to, think that I'm draining them or something. Uranus in the eighth is wanting you to step into a larger thing. Like eighth house is all about, it's beyond you. It's almost like an ego death, because this is what you know yourself to do. And this is what the eighth house knows that you can do. But it's going to be uncomfortable, and it requires a risk, and it requires asking other people for help. Uranus is wanting you to move more in that direction. So that you're not stuck in too small of a realm. So maybe it's something like, you have a big, wonderful vision that you would love to do. Like one of your passions is, you want to start a business or something, but you're like, oh, but I don't think I can get a loan, or like, I don't know, I don't really trust other people to help me with that. I don't really have time to do it myself. Uranus is wanting you to like take the leap, really open yourself up, and stretch yourself into uncomfortable things like asking people for help, or like taking out a loan or something like that. Because that self-expression, that manifesting that self-expression and maturing that self-expression requires a bigger version of how you trust people and how you merge with people to become something larger. And this isn't really like your friend group. Eighth house merging is like, whoa, I just merged with that person. Like, oh my God, I just took out that loan and I'm in debt. Or like, oh my God, I just decided to go work with that person and they're amazing, but like, oh my God, I'm not sure if I can really keep up with all that. Or, wow, we just started a business and I really hope people like this because I just put all of my life savings into this. This is eighth house stuff. You just merge in a way that like, it's just forward, like can't go back, hope it works. To have Uranus in your eighth house, and again, this is more than just this year that you have specifically Uranus in your eighth house, you have a lot of opportunity to, and it's almost like you might just kind of have it forced on you anyways, but you have all of these unexpected things happen with stuff like that. Taking out loans, merging with other people, deep merging bonds with your partner, something like that. Unexpected changes in the way that you trust people. And that's activating / conflicting with how you express yourself. Okay, Libra ascendant there. Next up, Scorpio ascendant. So Scorpio ascendants, you have Saturn in your fourth and you have Uranus in your seventh. So what this shows is, so Saturn just moving into your fourth house means that for the next few years, what you're really manifesting, what you're really maturing is what comforts you, like what is home to you. How do you ground? How do you relax? And with Saturn there, it's going to poke at all of the ways that maybe aren't really the most ideal, exciting, Aquarius level things that you could be doing. So if your go-to comfort thing is like watching a movie and eating mac and cheese, Saturn going through your fourth house is probably going to be like, nope. Mature that. That's held on by duct tape. You're not really relaxing. What really allows you to relax? What really fulfills your soul? How do you actually emotionally feel comfortable, with yourself and others? Where is that deep internal and external home for you? Saturn wants you to make that real. And that is being activated / conflicted by Uranus in the seventh house. So where is it that your relationship is just too small? Like, this is what the relationship has become. It's like, exact same thing every day, the peck on the cheek at the end of the night, whatever it is, you just kind of have your little, very comfortable, very small, very cozy routine. Uranus is in there trying to wake up your relationships. And again, this is mostly romantic partner, but can also be business partner or best friend, or like all of those really close one-on-ones that we have in life. So your comfort is wanting to be up leveled and matured, and also something just more inspired. You're more inspired by what relaxes you and what comforts you. So maybe instead of watching movies, you like find this, you know, beautiful path or beautiful meditation group, or, you know, some kind of like a thing where you go and Zoom sing with people, you know, who knows, but something that actually is like, oh my God, I'm really finally in my body. I really feel seen and comforted and relaxed in this environment. And that's like, you know, nothing like the comfort that I used to get from just all of the numbing things I used to do. So that's like Saturn wanting that to be more inspiring. And your relationships are going to have to grow in order for that to activate and not conflict. So, like, if your comfort zone's getting way bigger, but your partner is like, but I like watching movies every night, that's the thing that's needing to break open in order for that Saturn in Aquarius, fourth house, to come into maturity. Okay, Sagittarius ascendant. This puts Saturn in your third house and Uranus in your sixth house. So Saturn in third house Aquarius shows that you are the thing that's wanting to mature, and the thing that's wanting to poke at all the duct tape and rubber bands holding it together is just how you gather information, how you think. Maybe you just kind of like, whatever anyone tells me. Again, maybe it's a little bit of the news things, like, sure, the news, whatever, that's fine. I'll just take it at face value. Saturn's really wanting you to explore that area. Like, how is it, what information do you allow to come into yourself? Where is it that you're receiving and consuming information that's not inspiring? Like, third house Aquarius wants the things that are learned and heard and read about and talked about and communicate with. Where are those things? Like, they want those things to be about the future, hopeful, inspiring, exciting. So where is it that you're taking in information that's not all that positive and future focused? And also, where are you sharing information that's maybe not positive and future focused and inspiring? So, you know, if you've got a group of people and you all get together and just like, you know, bitch about the world, fine, you know, human nature. But Saturn is really going to make it so that that energy is not going to flow as easily for you, because it wants you to start in receiving information from the world in a more inspiring way. That's really what Saturn's all about for you for the next couple of years. Rethink how you orient yourself in like what you take in and what you don't take in. And all of this squares Uranus in the sixth. So where is it that your daily routines have gotten a little too small and a little too rigid? So maybe it's like, you know, you eat your breakfast and then read these two types of newspapers, and you know, go see that group of friends that you bitch about the world to, and like that's kind of the thing that you do every day or something like that. This is, again, a very random example, but some part of what you do every day has to expand and open. So maybe you start including things in your daily routine that you never thought about before. You start talking to your crazy aunt that's got all these crazy astrology things, you know, that she shares with the world, and you're like, maybe there's some truth to that. Or you start listening to different things, like you let your body receive things in a different way, because basically third house is all about how you think, like the mental things coming into your system, and the sixth house is your physical body and like how you physically manage your physical body. It's the most human 3D of all of the houses, the sixth house is. And so there's something about how you human that wants to break open and be more expansive to have Uranus in your sixth house. So those are the two things that are conflicting for you: what you take in information wise, and then how you're doing your day-to-day life. How can both of those things, you know, be more inspiring, and then also just become larger? Be like, where is it that something is, you know, maybe someone gave you an opportunity to start going to some like crazy new exercise class and you're like, that sounds really weird. I don't really know if I want to stand on my head and sing a song and have that be my exercise practice. I don't know. Uranus and Taurus in the 6 is like, who knows? Like, you might do that and totally fall in love with it and then meet your new best friend there. Like, it's wanting you to move out of what, like, shift up how you do your day. That's Uranus in the 6th. Okay, so that's Sagittarius ascendant. Next up is Capricorn ascendant. So Capricorn, you have Saturn now in your 2nd house and Uranus in your 5th house. So what that shows is Saturn in Aquarius in the 2nd house is wanting to once over, poke at all of the things that aren't quite solid with your values. So where do you have, in your value system, things that just aren't inspiring? Like maybe you have a value that, oh, we all have to do this, or like, I have to like fill in the blank with a whole bunch of shoulds about this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm sure Capricorn ascendants are probably should it on all over the place. So, where is it in your value system that you have things that aren't inspiring? And where can you basically recreate those or clean those up so that they are inspiring for you and they are more, this progressive, lovely future vision versus just kind of like maybe a jaded past vision. So Saturn moving through your Aquarius 2nd house is wanting you to mature and, grow in a new direction of what you place value on. Where can you upgrade your values so that they're more inspiring and more future focused? And that's conflicting with your Uranus and Taurus in the 5th. So Taurus 5th has this, like at that worst, there's the things that you enjoy doing, like this playful, self-expressive, creative 5th house is maybe too small. So maybe you've got it that, the thing that I do for fun is I once a week, take the dog to a new park or something like that. I don't know, totally random. Or like once a week, I go and buy myself like a different kind of cookie than the one I normally buy. I don't know. So Uranus in 5th house is wanting to break open what it is that you have fun doing. So this would just be like Uranus is basically wanting you to just do anything different, like try something new. Maybe you never thought you could paint. Maybe you start painting and like, oh my God, I'm great at it. You thought you hated to do computer like systems things, and then you started doing them and you're like, oh my God, I'm amazing at this. I didn't even know. And then the other thing about the 5th house is it's also self-created businesses. So pay attention to any inspirations that you have, particularly this year, but again, the whole time that Uranus is in Taurus, because that Uranus energy of like brand new insight, or like, oh my God, I never thought about it like that before, or whoa, I didn't even, that's so cool. I could totally do that. All of these crazy things that just kind of pop up and change for the purpose of expanding you out of your little box. You might have some really great business ideas come to you if you open that value system into more of that positive, future focused thing. So Saturn at its best is helping you stay more inspired for the future and having that be a part of your value system, how you orient yourself and like, this is what this is what matters to me. And then that can help with opening you up to finding new things and expanding yourself and how you express yourself. Okay, that was Capricorn ascendant. Next up, Aquarius ascendant. So if you have Aquarius on your ascendant or in your 1st house, then that shows that Saturn's in your 1st house and Uranus is in your 4th house. So Saturn has just, for you in particular, Aquarius ascendants, has just left your 12th house. So the last 3 years for you were 2.5, 3 years, have been basically like deep diving into all of your repressions and cleaning all of that stuff up, which I'm sure was very intense. So kudos for making it through. But now Saturn is moving out of this unconscious realm for you. The cleanup crew has passed your repressions, your ancestral karma, like all of these deep, deep hidden 12th house things. And now Saturn is wanting you to do a once over in how you see yourself in the world. You just upgraded all of the basement, and now it's time to make the top part of the house look like that too. You cleaned up that, and now it's time to clean up the front facing part. So first house Saturn is basically doing the once over. Where's the duct tape? Where are things just barely held together in what you think you're meant to like show up in the world as? So maybe you thought before you were a shy person, but then after all of this stuff that's been cleaned, you're like, wait, I'm not actually that shy anymore. I think I actually really enjoy being around people. Or I think I genuinely am an inspiring person. Who knew? I thought I was always, people used to think I was just, a wallflower or something. But now when I start talking, wait, people are actually really listening to me. This is really exciting. So you are up leveling and maturing how you see yourself in the world. And you're also moving into more of a, inspiring and future focused thing for like how you interact with people around you. So, you claim more of your inspiration and you lead with that. Like you start telling people about that more often, or people, are around you. And before you would have just been like, oh, I don't know, who am I to say that they have anything with, like, who am I to say that, like, what is my opinion to them? That doesn't really matter. But now you're like, wait, I actually do have gifts that I could share with these people. Maybe I should, tell them about that and have that be more of my identity. Put it on my website, make a website in the first place, whatever, like put more of myself with this new identity, with this new, maturity of inspiration. Like I am someone that knows, I am someone that has a big picture vision for the future. And I would like to, help other people with that. So it doesn't have to be a service oriented thing because it's first house. It's more of just you claim it. So instead of thinking about it of like, you certainly could start a business with it all, but think about it more of like the what you post on social media changes and how you talk to people starts to change a little bit, because deep down how you see yourself has upgraded. And this conflicts with Uranus in the fourth house in Taurus. And so Uranus in the fourth house is wanting to break you out of a too small comfort zone, basically. Like you've got this little tiny bit, maybe I've got these 3 people around me that I like, and they're the ones that get to hear my crazy rants and wonderful visions, but like no one else. Or potentially even your family of origin, because that's also kind of a fourth house thing, is just very traditional, or maybe very, like they're not really into the whole moving into 5D or like crazy wonderful things that you now claim as part of your identity. So the thing that you're wanting to break open and allow there to be more like different energies in is how you comfort yourself, and then also how you interact potentially with your family. And also Uranus can just be a surprise. So maybe your family, like maybe this whole time you hadn't been sharing more of your wonderful Aquarius weirdness with the world because you thought that you would be judged by family or something. And Uranus going through there might surprise you, where your family is like, oh yeah, actually I'm kind of into that too. Or, oh, that's really inspiring. Thank you for sharing that with me. So the opening up of the what you identify as, this is where I'm safe, this is what family means to me, this is what my little tiny home vibe is, expanding that allows you to mature your more inspired sense of self and share that more. That's Aquarius ascendant. And then finally Pisces ascendant. You have Saturn in your 12th, just moved into your 12th house, and Uranus in your 3rd house. So Saturn in the 12th is basically saying that, we just started this because Saturn just moved into Aquarius. And so from, December 21st, 2020 till about 2.5, 3 years from now, your thing that you are maturing and getting rid of all of the duct tape and, making sure that it all genuinely fits together, not forcedly fits together, is your subconscious, is all of your repressions, is all of the things that has been passed down from you know, many, many, many generations down to you consciously or unconsciously about, you know, what it is to be in the world. So Aquarius 12th house basically means that the thing that's really hidden for you is this, like the thing that's wanting to be matured is how is it that like I'm almost envisioning more of like you're healing your past lives so that you can be inspired by this lifetime and not be afraid of it. Or you're finding this deep collective freedom by, you know, continue or by completing a line of karma that maybe was started by like 3 lifetimes ago, or your great 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 grandmother, or you know, something crazy like that. So for anything at all that involves the 12th house, your main access points are meditation and dreams, and as much as possible like art, anything that gets you out of your brain and moves you into almost a subliminal state. That's where you access the information of your 12th house. You know, there's many other ways too, but those are the great ways. So as much as possible, allowing yourself, you know, when you dream, maybe even see what happens in like a, see if you can kind of, you know, go to bed and intend something and then dream about it. It's almost like you're playing in another realm here. And that's where your deepest level of maturity and like excitement for the future and inspiration is going to be coming from. So you're really cleaning house in your subconscious for the next 3 years. And go talk to any of your Aquarius ascendant friends because they just finished this. And again, it would be in a slightly different sign for them, but it would still be Saturn in the 12th. And see, you know, what happened to them, what were things that were useful to them, you know, how could they, yeah, what kind of tips or tricks they might have for this. Because basically the thing that you are learning, the thing that you're cleaning up, the thing that you're getting your shit together with is all of the stuff that you brought in with you, consciously or unconsciously. And you're learning how to complete that and then, you know, put it back to rest so that it can be your life, your inspiration, your unconscious guiding lights versus a bunch of other people's stories that you're still carrying around inside of your subconscious. So that's what you're maturing, Saturn in 12th house. And then this is conflicting with Uranus and Taurus in the 3rd. And so what this shows is that the thing that you're needing to break open, you know, it's become too small, is just like how you think and how you talk to some extent, like what information you're bringing in. So again, I feel like there was another house that also had a similar vibe with this, where basically what you're trying to do is like, where else is there things that you could receive information from? Where is it that you're thinking too small, or you're, you know, thinking that you knew everything about something, but actually you could do a lot more exploration with it? Where is it that you can open yourself up in how you think? So, you know, things might with this might be that, like, you know, you thought, okay, this is how the world works. This totally makes sense. I completely understand this scientific concept, or, you know, this um I don't know, anything at all. Like, this is how this particular system works or something like that. And then Uranus shows up in the form of a book or a person or a random thing you hear like on the radio or who knows. And it completely opens your brain about that. So you were like, wait, I thought the world was only this long or this old. Turns out it's like millions of years older. And wait, the pyramids were built like 15,000 years ago? What? That completely messes with all of my understanding of things. I don't know. It's kind of random. But like, that could be a Uranus in the 3rd. The way that you intake information upgrades and shifts in a huge way. And in doing that, activates you healing your ancestral karma and past life beliefs, all that repressed stuff of Saturn in the 12th. So your subconscious is activating / conflicting with how you think, speak, and take in information, and then vice versa as well. And that's 12th house in Pisces, or that's the Pisces ascendant with this Uranus Saturn square. Okay, so all of that is for just if you have those 2 signs, that is very much the theme for your year. So that would have, you would fit in one of those 12 categories that I just described. And this is particularly powerful if you have any planets in Aquarius, or if you have any planets in Aquarius or Taurus between basically like the first 10 degrees of either of those signs. Those planets are particularly involved in this conflict, and also going to be very useful in you being able to use them to activate that in its most powerful way. And I will also just say, just the other two fixed signs that these energies will be squaring with or opposing are Leo and Scorpio. So also, if you have planets between 0 and 10 degrees, 0 and 14 degrees, yeah, 2 to 12, something, you know, kind of in that early range of a sign for Leo or Scorpio, you will also be feeling this. Not quite as strongly because it won't be a conjunction, but it will still square or oppose. So for those of you in early Leo or early Scorpio with your planets, you're not off the hook. So you might also be feeling some of these things, even if you don't have planets in Taurus or Aquarius. Okay, I believe that was everything I wanted to share. Thank you for listening to the whole video here. Hope that was useful. And if you have any questions with this, feel free to reach out. And once again, if you would like a deeper dive on your chart specifically, feel free to book a reading and we can get you totally clear and completely prepared for the year ahead. And I will also say, I haven't picked a date yet, but I'm going to have my next crash course workshop. So it's basically like a weekend workshop where we dive into your whole chart. You learn how to read your whole chart via intuition and pictures and fun fill in the blank sentences. It's a great intro to astrology workshop that, you know, even people that have taken lots and lots of courses with astrology love this workshop. It's very fun. I'm going to have my next one of those be, I think, in early March. So if you're not on my newsletter, sign up for my newsletter so that way you can, you know, get the date if you're interested in that. I haven't quite set the date yet. I will soon, but I'll be sharing that information soon as well. So if you're interested in astrology, you want to learn more about your own chart and really, you know, not have to rely on other people, but do it yourself, that is a phenomenal workshop that started the entire journey for me with teaching. People very, very much resonate with that one. So I believe that is everything. So thank you all so much. Best of luck in 2021. And I will talk to you soon. All right.